I've never had a Valentine, Shinso had hummed absent-mindedly all of a sudden. You glanced at him, stopping yourself from taking another bite of your crepe. He looked a little bit dazed, and when you followed where his eyes were at, you realized what made him say such a thing. From a distance, there was a group who were not being discreet with their conversation. They were openly talking about their partners and what kind of gifts they were going to buy for Valentine's Day. Your gaze landed on the purple-haired boy who sat next to you. He had tagged along with you because you had a group project to finish together. "Are you lonely?" you asked in response. Your voice snapped him out of his daze, and it appeared that he was unaware of the fact that he had been talking out loud earlier. But Shinso was a calm and stoic person, so it wasn't hard to mask his embarrassment of being caught speaking his thoughts out loud. "Well, not really. It's just nearing Valentine's and I just thought about it," he muttered, rubbing the back of his head. "I'm a little surprised that you've never had a Valentine's before," you said. "You're an amazing person. Your quirk is pretty handy too. Maybe you can stop me from procrastinating sometime," you hummed with a smile. Shinso chuckled in response, closing his eyes at your carefree attitude. With Valentine's Day just right around the corner and the UA party just days away, you struggled to get yourself a date. And this wasn't the "I'll just randomly drag a person so I won't look stupid" kind of thing. "Let me guess, you didn't find the right timing? Or was it too crowded again? Maybe the old nature was calling again?" Mina nudged you as you ate your omelette. "It's none of those," you fumed while poking at your food. "Well, I guess it's difficult, even for you," Uraraka hummed, chewing happily on her sandwich. "Yeah? Try asking out the person you have a crush on, I mean Midoriya. Then you'd understand my feelings," you shot back with a small sigh. "Huh? What do you mean?" The brunette fanned herself, almost choking on her sandwich. You laughed softly. Uraraka was really easy to read. Her entire face was red, but you knew you shouldn't be making fun of her. She didn't have to go through the same dilemma because your curly green-haired classmate was the first one to make a move. Instead of telling Shinso face-to-face, you opted for a letter. A day prior to the party, you had already planned out everything. You read the letter over and over to make sure you didn't misspell anything. On the next day, you slipped it into his shoe locker and waited for the end of the day. Once Miss Kayama wrapped up her lesson, you waited for Shinso to approach you, swinging your legs eagerly as you anticipated his reply. Everyone had pointed out how Shinso seemed to have a soft spot for you, giving you hope for a yes to your letter. "Traveler." "Yeah?" You turned towards the purple-haired boy. His face held his usual tired look, but you saw how his pupils dilated a little, indicating surprise. Your face flushed at the proximity, and you quickly sat down in embarrassment. "Let's go back together." "Eh?" Did you not have a reply for your letter? You walked right next to him, falling one step behind purposely to examine his features. He looked normal, as if nothing of interest had happened. Have you placed it on the wrong locker? No, you spotted a small cat sticker that you put last week on his locker. Maybe he didn't have the chance to read it yet? Or was he just not interested in you? The last thought you had frowning a little. You didn't want to ask him directly, afraid that you might appear nosy. So you kept silent. You felt uneasy that night. Even though it was a Saturday, and the usual bonding time with your classmates, you found yourself wondering why Shinso was acting like usual, as if he never received your letter. It wasn't until Uraraka nudged you that you snapped out of your daze. With a hurried apology, you asked what they were talking about and attempted to ease your way into the conversation. A soft sigh left your lips as you slowly trudged to your room. You supposed that it can't be helped that you were going to the party all alone. You had poured your heart into the letter you wrote to Shinso, even asking him to be your date for the party. Although he didn't give you a response of any sort, you suspected that he was not interested. It disappointed you, but you had to respect his decision.
Hey.
A voice stopped you. Shinso?
About that Valentine's party.
He trailed off. Your eyes widened for a short moment, immediately forgetting about your plans to chill in your room and eating your ice cream. Shinso was rubbing his neck, his head lowered and gaze fixated onto the floor instead of you. This was a habit of his whenever he got nervous.
I didn't really have the courage to reply to your letter, but I'd like to go with you tomorrow.
The purple-haired teen replied, raising his head to meet your gaze. You stood there in silence for a few moments, unable to respond to him. You idiot. I thought you didn't reciprocate my feelings. You made me think that you didn't like me and that you decided to ignore me because talking to me will be awkward. You scolded him, jabbing your finger against his chest repeatedly after every exclamation. Shinso recoiled, shocked by your overflowing emotions.
I'm sorry.
That won't cut it, Shinso. I demand you do something about this, or I swear I will. Shinso grabbed your wrists, pushing you against the door of your room.
Traveler.
Yes? You squeaked out timidly, intimidated and flustered at how close he was. Your eyes were locked with one another, and your noses were almost brushing against each other.
Thank you for asking me to be your Valentine.